Want to instantly play better in CS2? These 10 easy tips will have you improving your gameplay right now. No complicated setups, just straightforward advice that works. I'm Louie, and in this video, we'll start by mastering how to burst the AK effectively and find the perfect sensitivity that suits your style. You'll learn why holding crouch is a common mistake and how tapping crouch keeps you agile and harder to hit, and share grenade binds and ladder tricks that make a big difference. Timestamps are in the description so you can jump to your favorite tip or revisit whichever one you like. Using the AK can be very hard, especially if you're over committing to a lot of sprays like this. So something you guys want to do is just simply burst with the AK, and bursting with the AK actually falls in line with the CS2 meta that is happening right now, where a lot of people are just strafing and crouching. So if you guys are able to do some sort of movement when you're shooting, either if you're just bursting back and forth like this, or maybe you're doing like the donk crouch where when you see someone you're instantly crouching, this will give you a huge advantage when you are actually taking duels with the AK. Because if I'm swinging out on someone over here towards heaven, something I don't want to do is definitely overcommit to a spray. So if I'm just sitting here bursting, going back and forth, or even just tapping crouch when this guy's trying to fight me, I'm at a huge advantage because this guy literally can't really strafe at all. He has to keep coming out of this door to try to fight me, and if he overcommits, he's pretty much just standing still, stuck in between this rail and the door frame. Now this does work on a lot of other fights as well, where even if you're trying to fight anyone over here towards ramp, if someone's playing on this headshot angle, it's not good to just stand still and try to spray him down. You just want to see him, and then almost like it's a pistol round when you are bursting the AK, where you're kind of just strafing back and forth with the pistol. It's literally the same exact motion that you want to do when you're bursting, and this will open up a lot more duels for you, especially a lot more fair duels, because a lot of CTs are literally just posted on a position, and if you're just strafing back and forth, they're just gonna have to keep peeking out and trying to guess where you are. But since you're constantly moving left to right, they're going to have to really try to flick to your head while you have your crosshair perfectly on them. Now something you guys want to do is find a good sensitivity. Now in order to really find a good sensitivity and understand what is comfortable for you, you want to make sure that when you're flicking to a target, you're not over flicking or really under flicking. If you have a slow sensitivity and I was aiming at this spot and I wanted to aim to this one, if my sensitivity was too slow, a flick would look something like this, where my full range of motion of what I think would get there from muscle memory is very in front of the target. Now if my sensitivity is too fast, it would obviously be, I would flick and I'd be way over it like this. So if you guys play around with your sensitivity inside of your console, just to find that perfect range where you can just flick to someone where you're at least near the target, that is really good, because later in the video I'm going to explain on how you guys should be actually flicking, because a lot of people have it wrong where they think when you flick you have to land exactly on their head. But once you find your good sensitivity, the tip that I explain later in the video will definitely fall into the same category. Now something that I recently saw in one of my games that I realized was a bad habit for a lot of you guys is that people are over committing to crouch, specifically on pistol round. I was playing in a game the other day where on pistol round we decided to fight long and the T's rushed long at us, and my teammate just sat here just holding down crouch trying to kill the T's running out long. Now the reason that this is bad is because obviously when he's crouched, his speed slows down a lot, and also his hitbox becomes larger, so the T's could just run out trying to run and shoot this guy, and my teammate is literally just here with cement feet, not able to move or really to get away because he's just over committing to this fight. So one thing that you guys want to make sure that you're doing on pistol, if you do feel like you want to crouch, just do the donk method where you're just tapping crouch. This is the current meta inside of CS2. So if you do want to fight long and you see them come out, literally just tap crouch and then be able to get away, because if you come here and try to crouch like this and then run away, you've already overstayed your welcome way too long, and chances are you're just going to die. Now before I get into the next tip, let me tell you about SkinsMonkey. Is a CS2 skins trading site marketplace that provides an instant way to get new skins. The favorite thing about SkinsMonkey is that I can trade skins that I no longer want and trade it for a skin that is equal value. If you use code LouisCS2, you get a $5 bonus on your first trade, and if you want to buy skins, you can get a 30% deposit bonus plus an extra 5% using my code. The link is down in the description. Thank you SkinsMonkey for sponsoring this video. Now when it comes to flicking, a lot of you guys definitely have the habits of where you're trying to perfectly aim your crosshair on the player's head when you're flicking, but this is slowing you down. So the habit that you need to break is always trying to just precisely land on the head, because flicking is 2 steps. When you're flicking to a target, chances are you're going to be off by a little bit, and you're going to have to do a little minor flick to really get on that target, and this is what makes you fast. Because if you were someone that really just emphasized on really trying to land the crosshair on the head, chances are you're going to be slow, and if you're off, you're going to sit here and just think about how your crosshair isn't on him, and then you're just going to try to slowly adjust, and chances are you'd already be dead. So something that you guys need to practice to break this habit is just trying to flick really fast to a target like this, and then do a little micro flick back. And then eventually when you're fast enough, you'll notice that your aim is almost shaky when it lands through the target like this, and this will put you at a good place where your time to kill actually increases, because you're not going to be worried about trying to do like a slow flick just to land the perfect crosshair placement. You're going to start to notice that you're going to be a lot faster. So you can see right there there how I flicked to the target, I was below and I instantly flicked just subconsciously because it's a habit that I have formed, and this is the way that you guys should be flicking to targets. Now, most newer players sit here and scroll with grenades, but this is bad because if I was sitting here playing default as a CT and I knew they were about to come out palace, or maybe they started to come out ramp, if I wanted to sit here and scroll with my smoke, or even another weird situation where I miss the smoke when I'm scrolling for my nades and I have to go back just to throw a little disruptive smoke just for some protection for me, this could put me at a huge disadvantage, and it could actually get me killed because I'm just sitting here trying to fumble with my nades. So something that you guys need to do is have grenade binds. So then when you are in a situation where, let's say maybe I'm playing on triple, they start to come out A, I can just throw a smoke down and then immediately just throw a flash that fast. If you sit here and fumble with nades, you're not going to be able to do actions like this and throw your grenades very quickly. Now, if you guys want to know my grenade binds, they are right here. My HE, flashbang, smoke, and Molotov. This is what is comfortable to me because I feel like I can just use my thumb just to pretty much press those buttons when I am trying to figure out what grenades I want to use, and I also have them memorized as well. So whatever familiar buttons you feel fit you, make sure you guys go bind your grenades, and you'll notice you'll be able to support a lot more. Now, something that every pro has is their favorite warm-up map. For me, mine is the Aim Trinity version 2, which is the one I'm on right now, but every pro has their favorite warm-up map because they have things to offer. So for example, my warm-up map does offer where I can have bots standing in front of me and I can strafe around, but it also offers targets. So I can have these targets just around where I'm flicking to these targets like it's in Aim Labs, and I really like how this workshop map offers this. Or if I want the targets to move horizontally, where after I shoot and reset these targets, you can see that I can practice my tracking inside of this map. This has so much to offer, and I think this is why it's one of my favorites. Now, your favorite maps could be aim bots, it could be aim rush, it could be the fast aim reflex, whatever it is, but you guys want to make sure that you find your warm-up map so your warm-up routine is familiar every day, and you want to make sure that it has what you want when you are trying to either warm up or train. Now, ladders are very important, but specifically on a map like Nuke, even though Overpass and Train and Mirage do have ladders, this is the map that makes the ladders very important because you're going up to site using a ladder. So you guys need to be able to know how to use these because there's so many times where players just go up like this holding W thinking this is the best way to go up, and it's just slowing them down, which is going to get them caught out when T's decide to rush out A. So in order to go up the ladder fast, you want to be holding 2 keys. So if you want to hold W and D, you want to look in the opposite direction of the D key, which is left. So I would go up like this, which makes me go up so much faster. Now, if I wanted to do it the other way where it's W and A, I would look towards my right side and I would come up like this. Now, one thing that you don't want to happen, especially on Nuke, is when you're coming up the ladder, you don't want to shoot up like this. This is going to put you at a huge disadvantage. So when you're coming up the ladder, you just want to strafe to the right so you land on this side, and then your teammates are able to keep funneling up the ladder because most of the time it is 2 players coming up this ladder. Now, something else to note about ladders as well is that you can fast drop being silent and taking no damage. So if you did want to drop down fast, you can just drop down the ladder like this, hold shift, catch the very end, and then you defeat all that time going back down the ladder, which will make your rotations a lot faster. Now, a terrible habit that a lot of you guys probably have is relying on teammates. So something you guys need to do is to learn solo executes. Now, on Nuke, there's really not much executing you can do, and most of the time when you are executing on A or even down lower, it is just one person. But on a map like Nuke, you need to know the outside smokes. So either you're throwing the wall smokes like this where you ask a teammate to drop you a smoke, or maybe you throw the other old wall smoke where you're coming out behind the truck. Just knowing these 2 simple lineups will help you win a lot more games just by simply asking a teammate to drop you an extra smoke. Now, also, since we are talking about on Nuke how most of the time they are just solo executes, if you just learn simple nades like breaking door, flashing into mini, these little things that a lot of pro teams do that just takes one person can really help dictate how your team is playing in the round. Because if you do spawn in on Nuke and maybe the outside smokes aren't working, you could just call your team to just rush door, make sure someone breaks it whoever the first guy is, and you can just come behind, just smoke and double flash into mini, and chances are you will have the A site. So learning on how to operate pretty much by yourself just by getting an extra smoke drop to you is something that you guys definitely need to learn, because relying on your teammates to know all the smokes that you know is a bad habit you guys need to break. Now, pre-fire maps are very important, just like this one right here that I will put down in the description, and I want to show you guys how you can use pre-fire maps to get better. So when you guys download this map, you want to make sure that you obviously turn it to English, but then you want to turn on the wall hack bot. Now, the reason you want to do this is because you're going to see how it's going to help you, and once you click start training and spawn in, you're going to see that we're able to see where the bots are. Now, all these bots are playing common positions that CTs usually like to play, and this is going to work on your crosshair placement and your movement. So when you are going through a map like this, you want to make sure that you have really good pre-aim, and then just make sure you have really good counter strafing. And you just want to drill this at least 2 to 3 times, especially if you're unfamiliar with how angles work in CS, or maybe where common positions are. Drilling this at least 3 times will definitely help you. Now, something to note is after you do drill that at least 3 times, you want to make sure that you turn this off, and then you want to really practice to make sure that your crosshair placement is what you just practiced, because you obviously want to put it to the test. And doing this at least 3 more times will definitely help you understand common positions. It'll teach you really how to peek out onto where someone may be playing, and then all of a sudden, if you do drill this enough times, it'll just be a huge habit forming opportunity for you. So then when you are trying to entry out onto the A site like this map, you're not going to run into 2 bots just like I did right now. Now, something you guys should definitely incorporate into your warm-up routine, or even your training, or even just downtime, is playing KZ servers like this. If you guys just look up KZ CS2 servers, there'll be a couple websites that offer really good KZ servers, and this is going to help your movement. It's going to get you really comfortable with those high tier movements like you watch Munacy do, because he is someone that is always playing KZ. So if you do want to have that, you know, flashy play style or flashy movement, so getting used to how you move around inside of Counter-Strike will definitely help you guys in game and give you that flashy play style that you may be looking for.